All right, all right. Got a big meeting tonight. Howdy, howdy. Let's see if we can get some people in here. Get our guest. Got some people flooding in. Howdy, howdy. Got a very cool individual hopping in for us tonight. I'm very excited. Here we go. Here he is. My man, how are you?
Hey, pretty good. How are you?
I am fantastic. First of all, I want to thank you for your time this evening. We've got a lot to cover in about 20 minutes or so, and then I'm sure we're going to get a lot of questions based on what we've covered. So, thank you so much for. We're already getting comments. Hey man, how are you? Oh, okay, awesome. So, again, thank you so much for your time. I'm super excited to have you here and chat with you. I'm sure we're going to have multiple conversations moving forward, and hopefully I've got a crypto specialist in mind to speak with you a little bit about that, pick your brain about that. He's way well more versed than I am. But let's start it off. I'll give an introduction, but I would love to have an introduction from you so that our viewers know exactly who I'm getting to chat with today.
Yep. So I'm Parthesh. I'm 25. Basically, I've been in crypto and stocks for 8 years. Made a bunch of money in crypto. Started diversifying my assets. So I own about 4 rental properties. So I do that on the side, and then day to day I just trade stocks and crypto for the most part.
There you go. There you go. Any additional businesses? You said you did a little bit of mining, right? You want to run us through that a little bit?
Yeah, so I got into mining about 6 years ago, pretty hardcore. So I run a bunch of ASIC miners. I have 35 ASIC miners. So it's not too big, but it's not too small. So it's still a nice amount of change. So
Yeah, there you go. That's a lot of power behind that. So, guys, the
yeah,
topic of conversation is how both party and I have started to diversify into different assets, and what our journey has looked like in diversifying, what the cash allocation kind of looks like, how we make the decision to hop in. Hey, maybe we're doing really well in one asset class, whether the stock market or crypto. We want to move money into real estate or some other investment. Right now, between party and I, our three asset classes that he's already started getting into real estate, but our three asset classes of choice are the stock market, the cryptocurrency market, and real estate market. So I'll be covering all of that. So I'll give just a quick little introduction from me, since this is my only second time being on TikTok, so a lot of the viewers have not seen me. Guys, I trade both in the crypto market and the stock market. I primarily macro manage and micromanage the stock market. I don't do a whole lot in the crypto market. I've been trading for almost 3 years now. I dropped out of college and started trading, worked in multiple different jobs. I worked in corporate finance, cybersecurity. I've got a software background. And now I have been absolutely blessed to be brought on by OBR, and I love the guys that I get to work with on a daily basis. For OBR, I run our live calls every single day, and I have been granted the luxury of getting to interview incredible people every so often, and I have learned so much. And hopefully, you guys are going to get to learn a lot from this gentleman specifically tonight. So that's a little bit about me. You've gotten a little bit about party finance, and now we're going to run into some questions here. So, first question in regards to diversifying into different asset classes. Let's say we have individuals who are getting into one particular asset class, and let's say they choose the stock market. When's a good time with their experience in the stock market or trading or allocation into the market to then want to potentially diversify out with capital from the stock market, or if they're looking to add into other asset classes via employment income or business income? What do you think the best initial step to move from one asset class to another looks like?
so it also depends on like what you're doing in your life. Like, are you trying to start a new business? If you made like I would say more than 30% in any industry, you can start like descaling a little bit. Maybe go into like other less risky markets. But for the most part, it really depends just on exactly how you want to do it. For the most part.
So what was the key point for you that told you you needed to start diversifying outwards, splitting into different asset classes, and how did you go about doing that?
So, in crypto, so I've been in crypto for 8 years. So I've seen a couple bull runs. So in the last bull run, this was like back in 2016, 2017. That's when I got into mining. Just because I made a lot trading various alts. So I got into mining, so more like physical, like it's like real estate, right? You get passive income.
Right.
So I'm not trading. Yeah, so mining's pretty fun in the most part. And then in 2017, 2018, that's when I got more into real estate because crypto was doing pretty well. Started diversifying into real estate. And then stocks, just because I can leverage off of my stock portfolio more. Same thing with real estate.
Do you do any like larger scale leveraging with margin or anything to help your annual percent returns, or are you just trading in the market, creating profit, and moving from there?
So I use margin when like I want to. For the most part, I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, it just really depends on the market. Right now, I would start using a little bit of margin, but it's still kind of risky because you don't know exactly. It's like a turning point in the market right now.
Right.
So.
No, absolutely. And then what would be now if you're saying to potentially utilize margin, I in my opinion, and I don't know if you agree with this, I'd love to get your opinion. In my opinion, a great time to leverage margin is when you've properly kept at least, let's say, 20 to 30% cash in your account, and let's say we have a true market crash, and you do you think that would be a good time to leverage margin, or leverage, let's say, credit for cash, or leverage loans for asset purchases?
Yeah, for like 20% off the highs, I would start using some margin. Start maybe like getting levered up in some positions, going long. So
Okay. Okay. Any preferences? Anything that you'd be looking to purchase if we're down 20% broad market?
I would say Apple, Facebook. Facebook looks pretty good right now. So yeah, Amazon's pretty good too.
Yeah,
So just
Amazon's.
keep an eye on those.
Say that again.
I said keep an eye on those. Those are pretty good stocks.
There you go. There you go. I agree with you wholeheartedly. My group, OBR, has been covering Facebook for the past couple of days because Facebook's just gotten beaten down. I believe, from the low before today's pump, we were at an 18% pullback from the highs, which is that's tremendous for a FANG stock, much less one of the top holdings in the S&P 500 and QQQ. So that is just unbelievable. And I think, guys, if you're looking at a long-term perspective and you guys understand just who's playing around with Facebook's equity, you know that Facebook's got to be going up long term, right? And at least that's the general assumption. There's a ton of people who are really highly leveraging Facebook, and something that we're very much looking at. I'm very bullish on it long term. My money's definitely where my mouth is. I've got probably too much in Facebook at the current price, um, and I'll be at the a little bit above the current price before we had the second leg down. So, and I'm trading out the long term, so I think I'm just fine. But in regards to real estate specifically, what was the reason behind your choice in investment properties, in getting into real estate, and how are you deciding to allocate over to that, and how do you manage it?
Yeah, so back in 2017, crypto did. I mean, I did very well in crypto. So just to get out of that market, I got into real estate. So I bought a foreclosure, fixed that up. So I like to add value add basically. So renovation. So I'd like to do that. That took about 3 months. Got that done. Rented out. It's been pretty well. I got 3 renters for the most part. I got 2 studios in a high rise, and then just one single family. And then right now I just bought a townhouse about 3 months ago that I'm working on. So that should be back on the market within a month.
That's
So
awesome. Gosh, you're already
a lot of value add.
yeah, absolutely. You're already flying into your real estate portfolio. That's fantastic. I cannot imagine where it's going to be in a year. That's going to be exciting. You're going to have to keep
Yeah.
a date on that. Now, another question, something that always pops into my head every time I think about renovations. How did you go about finding contractors and tenants specifically? What was the path that you chose?
Yeah, so for the most part, contractors. At first, I went through a bunch of them. It was you go through them. So like the first 2 properties, I went through about 2 or 3 contractors throughout the whole thing. So you kind of live and you learn, and then once you find the right ones, you kind of know who to call, and then once you have them, you kind of want to keep them. So
No, absolutely.
that's that. Yeah.
Okay.
And then for renters, pretty much I have my realtor. He just makes a listing. He does like a background search. So if he approves it, then I'm okay with it. So yeah.
Okay. And you don't have a real estate license, so you're going through I guess an agent to do the property purchasing, and you said your realtor is the one who's scanning and vetting for tenants.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Go through a broker.
That's all. Yeah, that's awesome. That's fantastic. So, I guess the thing to take away here, guys, from that is that there's going to be some troubleshooting that you all have to go through with new asset classes, especially new asset classes that involve others. For real estate, I know for me that I do not want to be going out and fixing houses every single day. But I would love to have equity in homes. I'd love to renovate them. I'd love to provide housing for people, maybe close friends, family, and outside source tenants. That's just such a great idea for me. Providing housing for the public is something that I really do enjoy and appreciate. So, but that involves other people, especially if you want to make sure that those houses are in pristine condition, right? Well renovated, can host somebody and have them be comfortable. So I think that's excellent. So you've got cash flowing assets in real estate, you've got cryptocurrency that just won't stop pumping, and then you've got the stock market that hopefully will recover here soon if we can get all the crap cleared out of DC. So that's excellent.
Yep.
What are your next steps? What are your future plans in regards to these asset classes, or are you trying to get into another one?
Yeah. So for right now, I guess I want to get more into real estate. So like I want to get into commercial. Um, that's my main goal right now. So 2022 is commercial. At least one commercial property I want to acquire.
Okay, so what's the plan behind that? Looking for what fits your parameters, and what are your parameters?
More like small like warehouses. I kind of want to do that. We'll see. Yeah, exploring even like storage facilities. So
Oh,
we'll
okay,
see.
very cool, very cool.
Yeah.
Are you planning on putting those miners in one of those warehouses or what?
So I have a bunch in I think it's Ohio. I forgot the city. Just for the power cost. So if I can find a property there, that'll be pretty good for sure.
All right, when are you flying out to Ohio to get that situated?
I actually have to be there in 2 months. I got a bunch of miners coming in, so I got to upgrade the whole. Yeah. So
So what's the plan with those new miners? Are you focusing on Bitcoin? You focusing on different altcoins, or what's the plan? Because I know for a fact, obviously the hash rate's becoming a question, and whether Bitcoin's mineable in the future, that's going to be a whole other issue. So what's everything looking like for you, plan or mining wise?
yeah. So the miners I have mine Bitcoin only. They're a bunch of ASIC miners, so just one algorithm. So it's only Bitcoin for the most part. So yeah. So I like to upgrade my equipment like every 2 to 3 years, depending on the market. So this year there's a bunch of new miners out that are a lot more powerful than the previous ones.
Right.
So
So
I'm gonna upgrade for sure.
any plans to maybe mine Ethereum or some altcoins? What would be the benefit slash risk to that for you?
So sometimes I do mine, like if my miners are capable, I do mine various alts, but I just transfer it all into Bitcoin at the end of the day. Just that's what I do with my mine.
So what's going to be the plan once Bitcoin becomes unmineable?
At that point, then switch over to a different coin. Um, yeah, if I can mine it. So.
Okay. And then can your ASIC miners, are they reprogrammable to focus on another coin?
It only works on one algorithm. So if that coin uses that algorithm, then yes, I can. But if it doesn't, then no.
Would you be able to move over to Ethereum, do you think?
Not with the ones I have.
Oh,
No.
oh.
Yeah.
So what's the plan with those? Do those just become scrap metal, or what's going to happen?
Yeah, so some do become a giant paperweight. It does happen.
That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate, but I'm sure you're doing well with ROI and everything, so I'm sure you're covered on the back end. So that's excellent. That's excellent.
Yeah, so you have a long-term outlook. With mining, you want to at least like hold on to what you're mining today for at least 3 to 5 years and then offload it. So that's where you would make the most like crazy gains.
Okay.
So.
And now, if you just to bring this into the entry conversation for this, what what would you recommend somebody who would like to start a small firm, not firm, sorry, farm? What would you recommend for them to get started with? Would you recommend maybe starting with Bitcoin or Ethereum, or purchasing, let's say, I know everybody's getting graphics cards to mine and the whole nine yards. What do you think the best way to start this if you had to start over from the present day?
If I had to start over, I would get into more GPU miners.
Oh, okay.
Just because, yeah, then you can like mine Ethereum, a bunch of alts you can mine. So I would get into GPU. See, I just dove deep into ASICs, and they're really power hungry. A lot of cooling, a lot of noise. So you got to deal with that. But GPUs, you just pretty much have to worry about the cooling.
Yeah,
That's
I
about it.
well, okay, well that's not bad. And so you'd start building like eight GPU or eight individual GPU rigs and start hooking them up, and then also I guess the other benefit to GPUs is at any point in time if we have another semiconductor shortage or what have you, their value will go up exponentially regardless of the model. So if you're doing a 2 to 3 year outlook, if you buy a bunch of 3080s or 3090s, and I just got a new computer with a 3080, so I don't know, maybe I start mining some Bitcoin, but or start mining some Ethereum. But I assume in the future that if something were to happen or you wanted to repurpose, you can absolutely sell those and get some of your money back.
Yeah, with the GPUs, like everyone, like there's gamers, so the gaming industry needs them. So you can offload them pretty quickly. With ASICs, if the market starts turning, depending on what model you have, it's a giant paperweight. So yeah.
Oh, well, that's scary.
Yeah.
Now, do you run any GPU miners currently, or are you just full out ASIC?
All ASIC. I bought one GPU miner and I never set it up. I just had it sitting there.
You still have it sitting here when
Yeah.
you set it up?
No, I sold it. I bought it. I was gonna set it up, never got into it, and I just sold it to a buddy. So,
Oh, okay. All right. Well, would you ever consider moving over to GPUs, or are you going to be sticking with ASIC long term?
so my infrastructure is set up for ASICs, so I'm sticking with ASIC because I spent a lot of money on that end. So
Okay.
yeah.
Well, that's simple. We've got about 10 minutes left, and I'd love to take some questions here, but I've got just a couple more questions for you before I give you off to the rest of the crowd. Um, for in regards to managing all of this, how do you go about if you were to diversify into different asset classes? And I'm getting to a point where I'm now going to have to start offloading to an assistant or an admin with transactions, et cetera, just keeping up with everything so that I know, hey, I'm up X amount of percent on certain assets, certain stocks, equities, options. How do you go about managing these different asset classes? Is it harder than I think it is, or is it not as time consuming?
So me, like I sit all day behind my monitors. It's like a 9 to 5. Well, basically from market open to market close, I'm behind my monitors, and then I go check out my rental properties. Right now, I'm in the middle of a renovation, so that takes about like an hour of my time. So about 7 hours a week, I just check on that. For the most part, I'm managing all my properties, but if I get to a point where I'm over 10 properties, I would get project managers and then property managers to like delegate everything else. So
Okay.
it depends. And then for stocks and crypto, you just have to spreadsheets, organization, and then don't be too diversified. You can be diversified, but if you get too diversified, that can hurt you a lot.
Yeah,
Too.
I started to realize that because my largest positions that I hold month over month over month is always SPY. That's what I take authority, and that's what I leverage the most in. But as I start to see other opportunities in the rest of the market, I'm going to get to a point where I have one big monitor, and the only thing I have up is SPY and a couple of equities, a couple of securities that I want to hold that are directly correlated to SPY. But right now, uh, I'm in too many different individual securities. And I completely
Yeah.
agree with you. The more concentrated you are, especially in what you know, the better you're going to do, in my opinion. So
Yep.
I think that's excellent advice. And I need to take my own advice, and I will be scaling down in regards to how diversified I am, but I will be hyper focused in what I'm concentrating in. So I think
Yeah.
that will unquestionably help me manage it because I'm going to be typing in SPY rather than SPY, Facebook, Apple, Netflix, Google. So that'll be a lot better for management and documentation and reflection to see if I'm actually doing what I think I'm capable of doing. So that's excellent advice. Um, so we're starting to get a couple of questions in here. We got about 8 minutes or so. Is there anything that you would like to add before we start getting questions in? Anything you'd like to throw in? Any plug in the party finance gang? Is there anything that I can do for you?
No, I'm pretty much open here. All open to all questions. So
Okay, fantastic. Well, folks, we're at that time where we can take any questions from either of us. Happy to answer any of them. Our guest is my good sir, Party Finance, so I prefer you guys to ask as many questions as you can with him, since we're not going to get to have him all the time. You guys can always reach me in our OBR Discord. I'm in the live call every single day. You guys can reach me at any point in time. My individual TikTok and Instagram are Stocks with CC, and you can always reach us through OBR's social media platforms. But in regards to questions, guys, start racking them up, start asking them. Let's see what we can get. So the first question was from Hyper Capital. Hyper, I hope you're still in here if we're answering this. But first question was about iron condors when they are about to expire out of the money. So, Party, I don't know if you use iron condors, but I do not. I do not use iron condors because I am usually super bullish, and theoretically, iron condors on a higher time frame, which is where I trade, those that is just doesn't correlate, right? Iron condors are trading between a range, to my knowledge, which means if I'm looking to shoot up in between a range and I'm looking to break out of said range, then that would break against my long thesis. So, do you happen to use them at all?
no, I don't really trade options much, so I don't really use that whole thesis at all.
Oh, okay. So no spreads
Yeah.
or anything, no long calls, no puts.
No, I might do it just to hedge my portfolio, but I'm not really big into options.
Okay, well that's that. I mean, I've got a lot of big money movers who really just utilize options to hedge. That's really all they do.
Yeah,
So that's fantastic. I think that's a good conservative way of managing it. And if you're just all equity, then you have no expiration risk, right? No additional variables,
exactly.
no Greeks or anything. That's the sole reason why I trade credit spreads, is because the only thing that's at risk is expiration, pretty much, and the stock not doing what I want it to do. Which with equities, the stock not doing what I want it to do is just as much of a problem as trading options. Well, unless you're buying something for the long term and it's a good company. So for me, I trade spreads, and I trade bull put credit spreads and call bear spreads occasionally, very rarely. Um, excuse me, but I don't utilize butterflies, iron condors, or anything. I buy larger technical dips and the bull put credit spreads. The theta is great because the theta makes me money as the market is recovering, and I'm out way before the expiration. I'll go 4 to 6 months out, and I'll just sit and wait. I got no problem. And I'm buying anywhere from a 2% pullback to a 10% pullback, and I'm legging it accordingly, giving myself all the time I need. So that's how I trade. That's why I don't necessarily need to utilize iron condors. The next question is, how do I start investing? Well, God's child Zay, if you're referring to investing, we've covered multiple asset classes. If you're looking to start investing in any of the asset classes, I personally learned literally everything I know just about by networking, reaching out to people who have done and are doing what it is that I'm trying to do, and Google and YouTube. Those two, countless nights of Google and YouTube, and then having conversations with this gentleman has taught me a lot already, even before we got into the live. So, what would you recommend?
Google, YouTube, both of those are some great tools. Also, networking is key. There's a lot of events. Like if you're into crypto, go to these crypto events. Networking is key for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure at these crypto events, you're going to be able to bump into somebody who's standing in front of a huge corporate poster, and they're going to be able to give you something in that conversation that is probably going to pay for your ticket there. So chances are
Yeah,
you're going to get something very beneficial from someone at a conference like that. And there's no harm in doing it. It's an incredible experience. Take it as a vacation, right? It's in Miami. You were saying it's in Miami in April. That might be a great trip. You might learn a lot. You might network with people who want to work with you. You might get hired for a job. I don't know. So, all right. And then is your program free? God, if you're referring to our program, we have a whole long list of educational resources through OBR, through our Discord, through our website. We have a free part to our Discord that allows you access to a lot of education, as well as the analysts and conversation. You can chat with them. But we have a premium side, which is how you can get into the live calls with me so that we can do live TA. I can handle you just pretty much one-on-one so that we can discuss your trading strategies, learn where you're coming from, help you start to grow and become more independent as a trader so you can be an active participant in our community. Party, do you have any programs or anything you'd like to throw out?
No, I don't have anything, so no plugs here for me.
Okay. Well, you're a plug enough, dude. Thank you. I mean, having you on here has been fantastic. We've covered an unbelievable amount of information, I think, in the time frame that we've given ourselves. If we have, all right, so we've got one more question. If he were to start all over again and pick between either miners or algo trading bots, which would he choose? Uh-oh, somebody's coming after you.
Algo trading bots for sure.
Oh.
So, yeah. Well, okay. So mining, I can also use for taxes. I can save a lot of money with like mining because like it's a business. I have a lot of expenditure with mining, so it kind of depends. See, with algo, like if I'm just making money like hand over fist, then I'm paying taxes on that. So with mining, I can write off a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, if your algos are making you $100,000 and you're dropping $20,000 a year on new miners and everything, you get to write that off as a business expense, even if your business isn't producing that amount of money, right? So then you get to offset your taxes a little bit. Hey, public information. That's a great way to go about it. Let's see if we've got any other questions underneath that and why. Well, I think you explained that well enough. And then GD Investment said, awesome live. I appreciate you so much. That's incredible. And I would not be able to have any kind of quality content without this gentleman tonight. So, Parthesh, if there's anything that I can get from you or anything you'd like to say before we close up the live, I think we've covered a great amount of detail and focus. So if there's, another question from Dark. When would be a good time to buy an ASIC miner? Any thoughts?
Good time to buy ASICs. I would say towards the middle or end of a bear market. So like not anytime soon. So I bought some like about 3 months ago just because I'm upgrading. So if you're trying to get into it for a first time, just wait for like a bear market really. Not right now. Not a good time. Unless you're upgrading your equipment, then anytime's a great time.
Okay. Well, there you go. I think that's a great answer, and I couldn't agree more. So for any other questions, okay, so the last question, Dark. If I were to start my own algo, who should I hire other than a developer?
It depends what you're trying to do. So like if it's like quant based, then hire a bunch of quants, like back test it, drop a bunch of different theses, then different formulas, formats, and just back test, and then deploy it and see how it works in the real market.
There you go. Let it run and see what your percentage return looks like, and see if those guys you hired were worth the cash you put down for them, right? So, all right.
Yeah.
Parthesh, thank you so much for your time. I could not appreciate it more. We provided this live and the viewers quite a bit of information. If you guys have any questions for either of us, you have both of our socials. You have OBR social. I'm personally at Stocks with CC. We got Party Finance. Reach out to either one of us. If you guys reach out to me asking for Party, I'll direct you to him. And guys, you have a wonderful evening. Parthesh, thank you again so much for your time. And every time I speak to you, I'll learn something. So that's incredible. And I couldn't appreciate you more. So if there's anything else you'd like to put in, I'm happy to hear about it. If not, we can close it up.
No, this was great. And I'm for sure down to do this next time.
Okay.
So, in the future.
Okay. Well, I'm sure something's going to happen in the future that we're definitely going to have fun covering. So
yeah.
I'm sure everybody appreciate hearing it. And then Dark, absolutely. We're happy to answer those questions. That's one of the reasons why we're here. So you guys all have a wonderful evening. Again, my man, thank you so much for your time. And closing it off, thank you guys so much.
Yep. Bye.
Take it easy.